What's up, friends? Welcome to Content Matters. My name is Alex. I'm here, as always, with my good buddy, Sean. This is the place if you are a content creator who wants to work with entrepreneurs, or if you're an entrepreneur who wants to learn how to work better with creatives, you're in the right place. We're here for you. Sean, how are you, my friend?
Dude, I am doing fantastic. I know you don't know what day it is, but happy Friday.
I don't know what day it is. Every day is happy, but I'm glad that it's Friday. Some people really like Fridays. I really like Mondays, but that's okay. Today, I am in Bogota, Colombia, outside, so you might get a little bit of noise. But I just wanted to make a point. You have to create content even when it's not super convenient. Even if you don't have a perfect studio, I brought a tripod, I brought my R5, I brought a laptop, I brought all the stuff with me so we could make high-quality content even when we're on the road, even when situations are imperfect. And for those who don't know, we cut out all the stuff. We've had to try this 3 times now. We've had equipment fail. It's just been a mess to record this episode, but that is going to happen to all of you. Everybody, you're going to have equipment failures. You have to learn how to sort of deal with it when it's not easy and get better so that when you do the next one, you're constantly improving. But consistency is key, which means you're going to have to do it when it's not easy. So we are here.
Exactly. Got to stay consistent. It's never going to be ideal circumstance or timing, and you just got to start. If you start now, you're going to be further than you were if you didn't start. So,
yeah, I think the thing that I've learned over the last few weeks is that, content is inherently art, and art is iterative. You are going to always get better, and you're always going to start out terrible. And even this like mobile set, in a patio outside with construction going on, the quality is a lot better than when I first started. Me being able to talk to you and my ability to be a good podcaster, way better than it was 5 years ago. So even though it's not always perfect, it'll always be imperfect. You're always got to iterate and grow and get better.
yeah, if you always just compare yourself to the episode before, or even look at the first video, you're going to be like, wow, I was terrible. So,
yeah, and when you compare yourself with people who have been doing it 3 to 5 years, it's like, dude, you could be as good or better than them in 3 to 5 years if you did it. But a lot of people just look at it, they go, I can't be there from day one, so they don't do it at all. So,
yeah,
really want to encourage people to, I'm not perfect. I'm not as consistent as I should be. I don't have a big following. My content, I make mistakes. Sometimes it doesn't look the way I want. I'm still just out there. You just got to tell the world. Art is basically showing the world how much you suck today. Tomorrow you'll be better, but today, this is how much I suck. Tomorrow I'll be better. But you got to get used to being like, hey, look how imperfect I am.
totally. It was interesting that you said that because I was talking to a prospective client the other day, and he was just talking about how awkward he feels on camera and that he's terrible, and he was comparing himself to Sean Cannell from Think Media. And Sean still has his first video online. And I was like, go watch his first video, because if anybody's seen it, he doesn't have his backdrop set up, the light isn't that great. And I was like, you can't compare yourself now to people on their 1,000th episode, you just got to start and get going.
100%. My first YouTube videos were bad. I tried so hard to make them look good, and I look back, I'm like, that was terrible. And now here I am outside, so it's one of those things where it's like, you just got to, again, I love it. I just thought about this, but this is how much I suck today. But if you're constantly trying to build a huge studio so it's perfect, it's like you're never going to get there. You have to put it out in the market just the way it is today.
Totally. Well, and then one other thing to just tap onto that, I talked to 3 different creators, all people who are fairly well known, who have a decent following, and I asked them, hey, what is it like when you're in your room by yourself filming? Do you feel insecure? Do you have imposter syndrome? And all of them had a resounding yes. They're like, I always feel like this is dumb. Who's going to watch it? And these are people who are getting thousands of views. So the feelings that the beginners have, I think, is similar to the feelings that, maybe even the experts have. I don't know if that'll ever go away because we're always so critical of ourselves.
Pro tip, never watch your own content. Never, ever watch your own content. And if you're going to at all avoid it, which most of us can't, don't even edit your own content. I hate editing my own content. I'm like, this is terrible. But you put it out there anyways. I've dealt with, I know a lot of high-level content creators. Obviously, Brandon Turner, he's pretty well adjusted. But even he has stuff, he doesn't like everything that goes out as much as he wants to. It's just always going to be imperfect.
Yeah. But done is better than perfect.
You're going to be better tomorrow. So just get it out. And that way you can improve. Yeah.
So last time we chatted, we were talking about Hormozi's event. It was a few days before we were predicting what he was going to reveal, how much it was going to cost. And I watched it. Did you watch it?
Of course, yeah. Everybody watched it.
Yeah, it was the Super Bowl of entrepreneurship. And the thing I thought that was so impressive with him is the story he brought us through. You know, the best marketing is proof. And I think without a doubt, he demonstrated that. You know, he took us all the way back from when he was a defense contractor, starting his businesses, you know, having breakups with business partners. It was like the relatability of that with him talking to whether you're an employee or a W-2 or small business, big business. Like, I feel like he encapsulated everyone watching and got them to feel his likability and relatability.
Yeah, he did a great job. What I think was most interesting about that pitch was that he didn't really pitch anything. He gave away everything for free, and you know, it was a infomercial. And so what I loved about him was he has the salesmanship of Grant Cardone, right? Of some of the best infomercial, but he has the empathy and the humanity and the authenticity of Gary Vee. And I think those two skills are going to carry him into maybe being one of the best entrepreneurs of our generation.
Oh, yeah. No, he's so likable. I mean, he looks like a lumberjack that wears Crocs and cut-off jeans. It's like, I just want to go ask him to get like a beer and hang out and throw darts. You know, like, you wouldn't think that he's worth what he's worth based on how he acts and looks.
Yeah, he's got it, bro, and he's young, so it'll be a fun journey to watch him. So anybody who wasn't there, you missed out. I did order a hard copy, the exclusive edition of the book. And, you know, gave him my little $39, and I downloaded the course and watched he put all his content strategy on there. We watched it. Wasn't anything profound, but yeah, it's been really interesting to watch that and learn how powerful a good webinar is and how powerful a good webinar can be.
Yeah, I bought one of the books too. I knew everything was going to be online for free, but I was like, I feel like I owe him something just for all the effort and time and resources that they put into this. And then a little part of me was like, is this going to be worth something someday? You know, this book, if it's a collector's item.
Yeah, maybe. But that's a testament to, like, you know, his sort of, oh, your audio, dude, your audio.
Better now?
Yeah. I don't know what's going on. We're going to get rid of that We're going to get rid of that microphone today, though. I know that.
Okay. Yeah.
But it's a testament to his sort of approach, which is give. It's the Gary Vee approach. It's give, and then he didn't even ask for anything, or very, very little. Here, buy my book. You know, $39, whatever. And so by the time you give so much value, like, people, I don't want to say they feel indebted or guilty, but, you know, they're very much like, this is certainly worth the value you've given me so far. So here, I'll give you $40.
What do you think of the other online gurus who sell courses or programs thought when he gave everything away for free?
You know, I've looked at some of the course that he's given away. It's not that dense. So I think there's people that sell online courses that provide a lot more specific value that will still have an audience, a consumer base. Also, I think there's more than just education. You know, at the Better Life Tribe, we provide courses. Brandon Turner, probably the number one real estate educator certainly of our generation, maybe of all time. We just came out with a couple of courses, and they're worth something. We don't charge anything for those courses, but we do charge access to the community. And I think the access to the community is a way that people who, you know, charge membership or courses, they give you, hey, here's a community with it. I think that's a way to provide an additional value that is worth money. That, you know, information basically has become free. But access to people, that's still going to be valuable. In fact, that's going to become more valuable. And also with community, there's a weird function where it's like, sometimes it's just a barrier. If I pay $10,000 a year for an access to a community, is it worth $10,000? Maybe or maybe not, but getting access to other people who are willing to make that commitment and can make that commitment, that's a lot of times valuable. So I think other course creators who are asking a lot and providing a little, they're going to get hurt. But that's always going to be the case. In capitalism, if somebody else is providing a better product for cheaper, you're going to get outcompeted. Do I think it's going to be the end of courses because he gave his away for free? Absolutely not.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think the community and then access to the people within that community, the person who's selling the program, is huge. Switching gears here. All right, so I was listening to Gary Vee's Sydney keynote, and they did a pre-event survey, and the biggest issue that everyone was finding in the pre-event survey was they're dealing with motivation and inspiration problems. And I'm curious what you think about that, because I was surprised that that was the number one question that people were dealing with.
Yeah, me too, because I feel like that is not my weakness. I have boundless motivation and inspiration. In fact, I have too much. I need to turn a lot of it off. Can you hear that? So sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in Bogota, bro. This is imperfect. My apologies. They are building stuff. I have no shortage of motivation, and my opinion is that usually most people have plenty of motivation. That's what I thought, at least. It's the execution and the consistency. That's my weakness. Is, do you have an idea? I have good ideas every day. I have $1 million ideas every day. I think a lot of people have $1 million every day. Can they convert those into the $1 million? What does that take? That takes strategy, goal setting, habits, and consistency. And those are the hardest parts. So I would say I'm very surprised that people would say motivation and inspiration is the biggest struggle they have, because we live in a time where it's the internet, bro. Like I said, there's $1 million idea pops into my head every single day, couple $1 million idea. I don't know why people have any shortage of that. I'm very surprised.
Well, I think what you said too, it's like, the attitude and the habits. And I think once you get started on something, then the motivation behind doing it can compound. Gary was talking about how he hated school. He didn't get good grades. And everyone thinks the other way around right now, he said, of they're just chasing money. And they're not doing what really makes them happy. And he knows a bunch of miserable millionaires. To me, I think if you can either create quick time constraints within whatever you're doing and make it fun, like make the process fun again, or make it a challenge, like once I get this done, then I get to go lift weights at the gym. Like those are like little kind of, I don't know, like mindset shifts that I've done where it's like like even this morning, right? It's like I stopped drinking coffee before going to the gym. I can only get my coffee after I go to the gym. So now I'm always like, I gotta go to the gym because I want to get that coffee. And the coffee tastes better after I go to the gym anyway. So it's like a double win for me. But I was definitely surprised by that too.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, people say all sorts of wacky stuff. Motivation, inspiration, definitely not a weakness of mine. Definitely not something short in mine. Having an idea and sticking with it. Also, as far as like unhappy millionaires, it's funny he says that. I know a good chunk of unhappy, stressed out, unfulfilled millionaires. I know a lot. I also know a lot of people that are wildly well-adjusted and very, very wealthy. The people who live on Maui, maybe it's just the type of people that get attracted to Maui. But my friends, Brandon Turner, Cam Cathcart, Jeff and Megan Ahern, these people are annoyingly well-adjusted, right? They are very happy. They're raising their kids by the beach. They're making a lot of money. It doesn't stress them out. It doesn't consume them. They feel very good. At the same time, they're not artists. They're not really looking for, I don't want to say more out of life, but like they're very, very content with having a small community of good friends, living by the beach, having a business that makes money, and raising their kids. And like that sounds like it would be a lot. That sounds like it would fulfill most people. I think there is a subsect of people, myself included, where I'm looking for something else. I'm looking to create. I'm definitely the tortured artist archetype, and I've given up a lot of money. I could go back to real estate and spend a lot more time in real estate and make a lot more money. But I've given that up in search of purpose, and that I think will work out financially in the long run. But in the short run, it's very painful. It's a big ego hit, like you said, because society, American culture says money is the biggest, is at the top of the value hierarchy. So go chase money. So it's definitely, I see some tortured millionaires, but I see a lot of like other sort of archetypes. But I'm sure there's no shortage. I can only speak to what I know.
Sure. Well, I think everyone probably in Hawaii has the propensity to just be happier in general because it's so beautiful and the weather's great.
Weather's perfect. People are so nice. Everybody in Hawaii is like come as you go. Like it's sort of the opposite of Las Vegas, which is everything is flashy and showy and competitive and very superficial. Very much like, what kind of car do you drive? What kind of camera do you have? How much money do you make? Whose podcast were you on? Who do you know? It's very, very shallow. Maui is like, you show up in shorts and a t-shirt every single day and people they meet you where you are. They don't care what you drive. Nobody drives nice cars. Every car in Maui is a beater or a Tesla. And everybody just goes to each other's houses. There's nothing to do there except go to the beach, and the beach is free. So there's very little of that like stressful social pressure of like, the competition of these very empty, the values, these perceived values, money and status. So in Maui, it's very easy to be happy.
Sure. Well, the other thing too is like I think people don't always think of like Alex Hormozi, for example. When I was listening to another interview, he was talking about his work schedule. He starts at 6, he ends at 12, and then takes a little break, and then goes from 12 to 6 again. It's a 12-hour day every day, 6 days of the week. He only takes one day off. Sometimes he'll work a half day. And people think like, oh, I want what Alex Hormozi has. I want to be the man. But they don't really realize like his entire life is predicated on working, and then he works out, and then goes home, and that's it. And so it's like, if that's the life you want, sure. But I think a lot of times we don't really realize, the sacrifice. It's a trade-off. You could have all the money in the world, but then you're just always working.
Yeah, people are holistic. You can't have one aspect of their life without the other. I don't really. Alex Hormozi is he's a very interesting character. He's an inspirational character, but he's not somebody that I emulate. I don't go to YouTube and go, I want to be Alex Hormozi. I want to be more like Peter McKinnon, right? So I think a lot of people fall into that trap probably worse than me, especially when it comes to money. They want all this money. And I'm very fortunate that I invested well over the last 10 years, and I don't have a lot, but I have enough, and I'll certainly die with enough. So when you start getting enough money, it takes the allure of like, oh, I have more money, and I have the same amount of stress that I did before. So money is not directly correlated with stress. So something else is. So I need to go solve my life's problems in a different way. Money's not going to solve. Money only solves money problems. And then also, I'd like to. There's an interesting thing that I've learned about people, about Gary Vee and Alex Hormozi specifically. Go to the internet and download the Big 5 personality test and take that test. And one of the metrics that it measures is conscientiousness. It's basically like work ethic. My guess is that Alex Hormozi and Gary Vee score off the charts, 100% super high conscientiousness. They are very diligent about their work. They pay attention to their work. They think about their work, and they want to complete it to an extremely high degree. And it is built into it is a biological marker, right? And so people go like, I want that life. And I'm like, you are not even built that way, right? Most of us are not built that way. You can't be that way, right? It's not a choice. It's like I said, a lot of it is biology. Now, I'm not making an excuse for people who don't have that sort of biology, but there's a lot of successful people that don't work 12 hours a day. In fact, most successful people don't have to work 12 hours a day to get there. You just have to be a little like find the advantage in the capitalist system. There's always an advantage. So, but I encourage everybody to go out there and download that app, or find the Big 5 personality test and find out where they are on that rating. The other one that goes along with that is neuroticism. I know a lot of successful people. They're very low neurotic. They don't dwell on what could go wrong. They just don't. They're not built that way. House flippers, Ryan Pineda, I bet you he's very low neurotic. My buddy Jay Morando flips 30 houses a year in Las Vegas. No neurotic. He just doesn't worry about it. Right? Me, I'm high neurotic. I'm always stressing out about things. I'm always worried about things, even when they're not that bad. And so it probably makes me a better artist and a worse entrepreneur. Right? And so I think when people look at Alex Hormozi and Gary Vee and be like, I want to be like this, I'm like, go check some of these personality tests and see if your biology matches up with that, or if that's actually what you want and what you'd be best at, or if you're just daydreaming, if you're just fantasizing about somebody who popped up on the internet that seems to be doing well and has really wise things to say, but they're just different than you, and that's not your best use of your time on this earth. So I think it's important to find out like really what you want and who you are and how you can be the best version of yourself. You can't be somebody else. That's never going to happen. So I think it's important to do a little bit of research, and that way when you find out, hey, I don't have a super mega high conscientiousness, and I do have a high neuroticism. And when I read books, I don't read books about business. I read books about philosophy. It's not going to make me any money, but that's what I like. So like, how much do I want to fight who I am in order to fit into a box that isn't what's best for me?
Sure. No, you dropped a lot of good golden nuggets right there. My first question, rewinding it back a little bit, do you think? Because you mentioned you'll die with enough. Do you think when you have that box checked off of I make enough money, I've saved well, I've invested it, I have enough for later in life, does that give any sense of relief? Because I feel like it would. No. Okay.
Nope. I stress more about money now than when I was piss broke.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you think it's because you have more to lose?
No, because now I know that I know how to make money, so now I know how much I could be making if I cared more. So now I'm like, oh, I could go make another $5 million if I did this, this, and this, but I don't want to do it. But now I'm like, I'm doing this thing that doesn't make money, and I'm doing content that nobody sees. I'm like, is this the best use of my time? Is this what I should be doing? So I think as I become an artist more, I'm becoming more and more okay with it. But it's a weird effect. Like I said earlier, money only solves money problems, and worrying about money is, how do I say this? Worrying, being a person who worries is not a problem that can be fixed by money. So if you're somebody that worries about things, you're going to worry forever.
Wow, dude, you just with that one. 'Cause I think we're similar with, like, because I'm a worrier too, and like you said, it probably makes me a worse, and you too, you know, a worse entrepreneur, better artists, because I'm always thinking, like, I like to dream about, you know, what's the best case scenario, what could happen, but then I'm also weighing, you know, the options. What about this? What about that? And Alex, in this recent interview, Alex Hormozi, they were saying, you know, life isn't something where you can like split test it. Like once you make a decision, no matter what it is, everyone always has regrets. Like if you have the chocolate cake, you'll be like, oh, well, what if I didn't? If you don't have the chocolate cake, you're going to be thinking, oh, I should have had it. So hearing somebody say that too kind of like helps me flip the switch where it's like, okay, like either or. It's like the grass is always going to be greener.
Yeah, what's interesting about money, though, I'll say this, is when you ask, like, hey, is this having enough sort of check a box? In some ways it does, but I talked about this on a previous episode. It's not necessarily about having enough. It's about having control. So, like, when money comes in, right, I always do the same thing. I put 20% away into savings, and I put 10% away into, like, the stock market. And then when that money accumulates, I cash it out and I put it into real estate. So I follow that process no matter what. And because I'm always doing that, that pile always grows. So even when I'm stressed about money and stuff, it's like I'm still getting wealthier. And so that control, right, that like I'm not at the mercy of my whim. I'm not at the mercy of like, hey, how am I going to make rent? How am I going to make mortgage? How am I going to eat or buy whatever? It's like, no, first, I always think about future Alex. Now, and that's why I have enough, not an abundance. If I cared more about making money, I'd have an abundance. But in some ways, having control is a better fix than having enough.
Wow. Yeah. No, I think when you have a game plan with it, because even I start saying that to myself now too, after you're like, I'm taking care of future Alex. I'm like, I'm taking care of future Sean. And I'm thinking of ways how I can get even more aggressive with my savings. Like I've been continuously putting money into the Roth IRA every month. And then I have some other, you know, another $500 a month that I'm just like putting away. And I'm like, how can I get another 500 or 1,000 to just keep putting away? And kind of shrink my lifestyle too. Like right now, my girlfriend Trixie and I, we're doing a 30 days no going out challenge with food. So we're cooking everything and we're just like always looking at our spend and like, what can we cut?
Every day I wake up and I look at my bank account and I show my fiance the bank account. And it's like, this is what we have. And so it's here. And she's like, wait, why is it less than yesterday? It's like, well, we ate all this bullshit. And so then you start getting sick. You're sick of it. You're like, I want to have more money and I didn't care about the food. So I think living a light lifestyle, this is something where I've been very good, or I learned how to be good. I wasn't always. Living a light lifestyle is very healthy. There's a word, an ancient word, a very, very valuable word, a word that will make you rich beyond your comprehension that America hates. Our culture hates this word, but is the secret to almost all future success and your happiness current today. And that word is sacrifice. You sacrifice the bullshit. You sacrifice your whims. You sacrifice your impulses. You sacrifice new clothes and nice cars and going out to eat. And society tells you this is all bad. Your bank account, your well-being, your health, your stress, all say this is good. Your spirituality, right? Sacrifice is a very negative word in American culture, but it's the cornerstone of most ancient religions, has been the cornerstone of like most like human problems since the dawn of writing. So when you say like, hey, I'm going to give up all my food, I'm like, dude, you're going to feel better physically, right? You're going to feel better emotionally. Your bank account's going to like you, and you're not going to miss anything you gave up. Like we ruin our own lives and trade it for bullshit all the time.
Sure. Well, so the only pain, and this is just me complaining, but it's just more dishes. When you don't go out to eat, you have to do the dishes more, but I'll take that trade-off. But especially too, like, so the last time we did go out before we started this challenge, we went to Bagel Mania, super great place in Vegas. If you like bagels, it's Jewish deli. And I was blown away by the prices because like the food was phenomenal, but I was like, you're charging me $20 for tuna locks, cream cheese, bagel, some onions, and a tomato. And like we started making that ourselves. You know, Trader Joe's sells the tuna locks, buy the bagels somewhere else. And we're like, all right, this is like $3 versus 20. Like we could have this every day of the week.
Another pro tip I got for you for food is we cook everything on the grill, so there's no cleanup.
Okay.
We go buy a grill from Lowe's for $200. Every time we want to eat, we just eat. I cook lately I've been cooking bacon and eggs on the grill. I cook we cook meats like in bulk. We cook vegetables. I put it all on the grill. There's no cleanup. Just scrape it up. Every week you just dump it out. You know, the grease, whatever. No cleanup, no dishes. Very little dishes. That's been a blessing for us. That way I'm not always, you know, pans are harder to clean and all this other stuff. It's less utensils. Like, dude, grill is a lifesaver. And it's very easy to mass cook.
That's a great pro tip. I need to invest in a grill. Right now we don't have one. I used to have one, but maybe I'll have to get one.
All right, we're at 26 minutes. Let's try to go a little bit quicker. I'd like to be done at just around 30 if possible.
Sure. Well, what else you got that you're working on? Those were the things I wanted to talk about. I had one other, the Hormozi method for how he works I thought was interesting because I heard Ed Milet recently talk at an event I was filming. It was called Impact 23 in Denver. He does the same thing. He breaks his days into 3 6-hour chunks, and he's constantly evaluating. So new kind of framework I'm working on, just doing the Ed style of look at what you worked on in those 6-hour increments, but I'm not probably as religious with like working 12 hours. I'm just trying to track my time better and see where I'm spending it.
Yeah, nice. I'm not that good at that stuff, and nor does it plague me that I'm not. I'm in this phase in life where I'm really trying to become a better artist and find my way. And so, you know, the creative process doesn't work in 6-hour segments. So I don't stress myself out too much about that. But as we talked about, I sort of have that luxury. But no, right now I'm trying to, we're in Colombia for another 10 days. And then I'm going to try to, we rented a studio. We rented an office in Maui. So I'm going to turn that into a studio for the Brandon Turner, A Better Life podcast and a bunch of other stuff. I'm going to paint one of the walls green screen. I'm going to paint one of the walls whiteboard. We're going to do a lot of more content that way. It'll be a fun project to try to trick out a studio. On the side, I've been expanding this Content Matters platform into trying to help people build studio sets. So when they're on camera, they look, as I say, your content should look equal to the value that you provide. And so if you are providing wonderful value, right, really high level value, you're a long-time real estate investor, you're an entrepreneur, and you're like, I have things to share, but you look terrible. I got a buddy who, I see a video of him, he's using a ring light, his white balance off, it's dark, it just looks terrible. I'm like, you're so successful, you have plenty of enough money, you have the smarts, but you look like shit. You look like garbage. Why? And then who's going to take you seriously if you're not taking your presentation seriously? So I think, I've been spending time on the Content Matters platform, trying to make sure that entrepreneurs look equal to the value they provide. And I've been working with a buddy to do podcast production, one of the best in the world, maybe the best in the world. So I'm trying to find some clients that, same thing, people who, maybe they make content now, or maybe they want to make content, they have a short story to share, and they want to do a podcast production to a high level, and they want it done for them. So I'm trying to work with new customers and scale that up a little bit. But yeah, that's kind of where I've been working on. Is just my art is my purpose is bringing art to entrepreneurs, and that's where I've been focused mostly.
I love that. I'm excited to see the studio space you guys got. I know you've been harping for a while that you guys need to get an office, so.
Yeah, we got a great one. Actually, I'm a little nervous, dude. I am nervous because, it takes a couple of skill sets, right? It takes lighting. I can do lighting. It takes, production and equipment, and I can do that. But it also takes interior design, and that's harder. It also takes courage to put a big Better Life banner on the wall. What if it's gaudy? What if it doesn't look good? What if it looks weird? What if it's too bold? Now, the opposite is true too. What if you go into a place and you paint all the walls gray and the floor gray, like people, flippers do this. They paint everything gray. Why? Well, because it's like palatable for people with no personality. Right? It's like, oh, it's unoffensive. I don't want to be unoffensive. I want to make statements. And so if you make statements, then it takes courage, because what if somebody doesn't like your statement? And so I'm a little bit nervous going in there. I gotta do a big rehab of this. I gotta paint floors. I gotta design. I gotta decorate, and I gotta do it fast. And so I'm a little bit scared, but we'll put something together, and just like we've talked about all episode, it's iterative, right? The first version won't be as great as the second version, and
Sure.
that's gonna have to be okay.
If you have to repaint it, you can always repaint it, you know?
Yeah, that's it. We're gonna have to repaint it. That's fine.
Nice. Well, we hit our 30-minute mark. This was great.
One last question. Very important question.
Oh,
Sony or Canon?
Sony all the way, baby.
What do you
Sony.
What are you shooting these days?
Sony. I got an A7S III right here. And then this is the 2. This is my other B cam. This thing's a tank. I got this in like 2015, 2016. Still use it. Love this thing. Although one of these like younger kids at one of these events who's wanting to be a YouTuber since he was 8 was like, "That's the A7S II?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "That thing's kind of old." And I was just like, "Yeah, it was made when you were born. Like, shut up."
Yeah, it's not the lens you carry, it's what you do with it, you know?
Yeah.
What's interesting right now is I'm going through trying to help people build sets, and Canon does not have great offerings right now. The Sony cameras are cheaper. A lot more of them beat the 30-minute recording limit, and more importantly, because Canon's going through the big change between the EF and the RF lens systems, there are currently no third-party lenses for the RF mount. So I can't tell you to go get a Canon R10, which would be a plenty good enough camera, or an R7, plenty good enough camera, and then go buy a Sigma lens. There are no Sigma lenses for Canon, and I'd have to tell you to buy an EF, Sigma lens, and then an EF to RF mount, and then it's like, why do all that? And it'd still be more expensive than a Sony version. So right now, Canon is better. Canon is better, unless you're a beginner trying to do content. I'm like, just go get a Sony. They work just as good. They're easier to use. They're not easier to use. They're cheaper, and there's a lot more options. So I'm sort of I'm giving a little bit of credence to Sony right now, but not because they're better, because they're cheaper.
I'm going to clip that and post it so everyone knows you've joined.
No.
Yeah, no, I do think the Sony cameras, especially for YouTube's cheaper setup, something where you can just set it as a point and shoot, they got some really nice ones that are affordable.
The ZV E10, that's like the hotness right now.
Yeah. Everyone has that. I've told like 3 different people to get that. They're like, "What's a good starting camera?"
Yeah, and it's got the E-mount lens, yeah. Also, I would like to note, I'm going to say this last thing and then we'll close. I would like to note that my battery did not die today. What?
Crushed it. Yeah.
One in a row, baby.
In the comments, yeah.
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 Dude, that was
all right,
great.
my dude. Hey, great to talk to you. Let's do this again before too long.
Yeah, maybe next Monday.
Yeah, next Monday.
Cool. Sweet.
Right.
Well, thanks for watching, everyone.
Thank you.
If you liked this, drop a comment. If you're Team Sony, we need to show Alex that Sony is better.
Your opinion does not count.